welcome back to Repairing Earth. We have a special episode today. I'm Emily Cristobal, and with Earth Day just a day away, we have a special guest with us here today. We are with Monica McLennigan from Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Emily.
Yeah, so there's a lot of events happening this weekend. Earth Day is on Saturday, April 22nd, but Sustainable Coastlines has this event that's going on Sunday. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about it, Monica.
Oh, yes. So every year on the Sunday of Earth Week, we host our Earth Day Cleanup Festival at Waimanalo Beach Park. And it is much more than just a cleanup. We get people out, cleaning the beach, cleaning up microplastics. We also have a restoration activity that people can do, and we're working with Nation of Hawaii this year to do another cleanup up on the Nation of Hawaii property. And we're really excited to also have live music, games, photo booth, workshops, free food, and it's a sustainably sourced lunch as well, which we're really excited about. And it's just going to be a really fun day for everyone to come and enjoy and have some fun.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's going to be a huge event, and I heard that you guys are trying to break a record.
Yes. So our largest cleanup that we've ever hosted was around 1,500 people. And this year we're trying to break that record by quite a bit. Our goal is to get 2,000 volunteers out to our Earth Day Cleanup Festival. And right now we have about 2,300 people pre-registered, and we could not be more stoked. It's so amazing having so many people excited to come out and give back to this area and this planet.
Absolutely. 2,300, that's a lot of people, and that's just more hands that are able to talk and be able to learn about this movement, and just very exciting. If you could talk a little bit more about what sets this beach cleanup apart from other beach cleanups that you guys usually do.
Yeah, so like I said, all of our large-scale cleanups are much more than just a cleanup. We try to make the events fun and something that you'll remember. And we want you to leave never wanting to think about cleaning a beach again. We want you to see that this is a reactive solution, and though it's an amazing solution, it still is something that we react to after the problem already persists. And so when you come to this event and all of our large-scale cleanups, we want you to come take away the proactive solutions. So things like shopping local, buying your food from local farmers markets, and shopping at a thrift store, like all of these proactive things that stop plastic pollution before it actually persists. So our Earth Day Cleanup Festival is always our biggest cleanup of the year, and we really, really try to top ourselves every single year. So it's going to be a really fun event.
Absolutely. And, you kind of mentioned a lot of the sustainably sourced foods, other organizations that are part of this festival. Can you talk a little bit more about the groups that are going to be there?
Yes. So we have a few different sections within the festival. So one of them will be our regenerative garden. And so it's where we have people like Food Plus Policy that get to come and share our connection with the food and how we can deepen our connection as an island that imports a lot of its produce. And then we have people like in our solution center, like Seed.World, and they do innovative technologies to try and remove plastics from the beach. So these are all of like your mad scientists, if you will, of the plastic pollution industry. And then we have a bunch of other partners. We have Bottles for College coming, who is Genshu is a youth activist who runs Bottle for College, and he's actually giving away his first scholarship this year, and he uses the redemption from recycling to fund local Hawaii students' college tuitions. So we have a lot of really, really exciting, cool people coming out. We also have Mauna Maoli doing our live music, and so we have Hyrie coming out doing an acoustic set, and a bunch of other artists. It's gonna be great. We have a lot of people coming.
Absolutely. And you talked about 2,300 people have already registered. Can people still register on the day of?
Oh, yes. So we'll have registration available at the event. The line is a little bit longer for registration on the day of, so we encourage you to go onto our website and pre-register there.
Got it. And for that registration process, what are kind of the questions that they ask?
Oh, it's super simple. Name, email, zip code, and then you just click a button to sign our waiver.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I was hoping you could kind of say date, time, place, just a
Yes.
reminder of for the viewers watching?
Yes, so our Earth Day Cleanup Festival is this Sunday, April 23rd, from 9 a.m. to around 2 to 3 p.m. Yep, and it's just right at the beach park. We do encourage everyone to carpool because we will have limited parking space, 2,000 people, a lot of cars. So carpool, take the bus, ride your bike, whatever you can do to limit the number of cars coming.
Absolutely. And is there anything that volunteers should prepare for to bring, like if they need water bottles, gloves? Are you guys providing any of that?
Yes, so for the cleanup supplies, we have that covered. If you do have a favorite pair of gardening gloves, we recommend you bring those because we do tend to run out at events of this size. But aside from the cleanup supplies, you can bring quite a few other things. So first and foremost, you can bring your friends and family, have them come out and enjoy the event with you. But you can also bring a pre-loved t-shirt for live screen printing that we'll have available at the event. So we'll print a new design on a t-shirt that you already have. We would encourage you to bring your own reusable containers and utensils. We will have reusable containers and utensils at the event provided by Full Cycle Takeout, but still good practice to bring your own. A reusable water bottle, we will have refill stations and a water fountain at the event. And you can also bring toys, jewelry, soil from your garden for lead testing with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies and the Department of Health. I know I'm forgetting some other things. There's a list. So if you pre-register, you'll get the list ahead of time too. You can also go to our social media to check that out.
Awesome. Yeah, and what is your social media at and the website?
Our @ on Instagram is Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, and our @ on TikTok is Coast Huggers, and our website is sustainablecoastlineshawaii.org.
Awesome. And we'll definitely have all of that information online at hawaiinewsnow.com. But thank you so much for explaining this awesome event that you guys have
course.
going on. And the whole point of this event is to celebrate Earth Day. And I just wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about the history of Earth Day. So I was kind of looking up some information of how this all started. So actually, the first ever Earth Day happened on April 22nd, 1970. And it became this huge movement to push for government action in protecting the environment, putting that on the forefront. And, I was really shocked to find out that before this Earth Day ever happened, there was no such thing as the EPA. There was no Clean Air Act, no Clean Water Act. And those are super important protections that we have here for us living in Hawaii and also the rest of the United States. And, looking at what that first Earth Day was like, this huge movement of people, and seeing what Sustainable Coastlines is doing, trying to bring 2,000 plus people together, how do you think Earth Day has kind of evolved in today's day and age?
Yeah, it's such a great question. You said initially it started out as a push for government to take action, and now we have so many nonprofits available, and you can go and take action in any way in your local community, no matter where you live. And so I think that that's the beauty of how Earth Day has evolved. And it's also evolved in the sense that people are understanding that it's not just Earth Day when you have to take action. You need to take action 365 days a year. So we really look forward to engaging with our community and the 2,000 something people that are going to be attending our event to share ways that you can invest in your planet by doing small actions and dedicating time to caring for this space that we all call home.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. Investing in our planet and protecting our future. That's actually the theme of this year's Earth Day. And I was just curious, how important is it that we should be investing in our planet now versus, waiting and seeing what will happen,
Yep, it's going to be either small actions taken now or big costs that we're going to have to be dealing with in the future. And so investing in our planet is also the theme of our Earth Day event, but it is the theme of, Earth Day Global's events. And it goes so much more beyond the financial aspect of investing. It is the dedicated commitments that you do in your everyday life. And the small actions now can take us down a path of that's so much brighter than what we're currently looking at and on the trajectory of.
Absolutely. And, at Sustainable Coastlines, you guys focus on these huge cleanup efforts. Although cleanups are what you guys do, is there a bigger mission, a bigger goal that you guys hope to accomplish?
Absolutely. So we want to put ourselves out of business. We do not want to be cleaning the beach anymore. We use this metaphor, and we say, if you walk into your bathroom and your bathtub was overflowing, would you grab a mop and start cleaning up, or would you turn off the tap? You'd probably reach for the tap.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
And so cleanups are the mop. They're a reactive solution to a problem that is already persisting. The proactive solution is the tap. So we want to look at things that stop plastic pollution at the source so we can turn off the tap on plastic. And so when you come to our Earth Day event and any of our large scale cleanups, you will walk away understanding those proactive solutions that you can take starting right now.
Absolutely. And you mentioned those proactive solutions. What are some of the proactive solutions people can take now?
Yeah, a couple are you can talk to your local representative, give them a call, and ask what their plan to tackle plastic pollution is. You can shop local, shop at thrift stores, avoid plastics at all costs, and opt for reusables. You can get involved with a local nonprofit. We would love if it was us, but any local nonprofit will do that is taking care of the planet. And those are just a couple, but there's so many more, and there's so many on different levels. You know, if you're not ready to start a compost garden in your backyard, if that's a little bit too much, start off with bringing your own reusable water bottle. You know, it's the small steps that will lead to bigger actions.
Absolutely. And I was kind of curious, is there any specific policy that your organization, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, that is working to get more awareness from lawmakers?
Yes, so we were a big proponent of Bill 40, which is now Ordinance 1930. It's the plastics takeaway ban. And we also work with one of our community partners, Surfrider Oahu, who is really a leading hand in tackling legislation on island. Yep.
Yeah, and thinking about it, 2,300 people, and even more people, because that's just people who registered early. Think about how many people coming up to this event, how showing that these are people that care about these issues and how important that is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's when you think about doing an individual action, like let's say I brought my reusable water bottle here, that individual action alone is not going to make or break the climate issue. But when you get together to an event of this size, you understand that it's not just you that's taking action. It's not just you that is doing these small everyday tasks. It's your community that's doing them as well. So when you see that, you really get inspired and see the power of momentum and the power of a movement.
Yes, and one of the things that I really like about cleanups is that after you're done, picking up trash, you kind of go out in groups and you have your own little leader that holds the trash bag. And you really see all of that start to pile up, which is just so wild because, in Hawaii, we go to the beach a lot. And thinking about all that trash that is left there is just really eye-opening, but also that sense of community that you mentioned, that it just brings us all together for a common cause.
Exactly. And cleanups are great too because you kind of get that like immediate satisfaction. You go out and you see a dirty beach, you clean it up, and then you look back at all of the hard work and time and sweat and effort you put into it, and you can really reap the reward right in that moment.
Absolutely. And so Sustainable Coastlines, how long have you guys been in operation in Hawaii?
We have been an organization in Hawaii since 2011. Our sister organization, Sustainable Coastlines, is based in New Zealand, and that's who inspired us to start Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii.
That's awesome. And you've been doing this for just over a decade. How has cleanups changed from then when you started and now?
Yeah, we started out with just 8 friends kind of sitting around a table in Kaimuki trying to figure out how to, make a positive impact on their community. And when they came up with this idea to start Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, they were like, okay, let's just try and host a cleanup. And 300 people wound up turning up to Makapu'u for our first cleanup in February 2011. And the biggest question that everyone asked was, when's the next one? And so what's really shifted from then until now is more so our focus of our other programs. After cleaning up and hosting cleanups for so long, we realized, okay, we don't want to be doing this forever. Cleanups aren't the ultimate solution. Let's throw some education in here. And so now we have our relearning program, which is formerly our education program, that goes out to schools and works with people on the community to share plastic pollution issues and potential solutions. And so that's how it's really shifted, is the development of that program.
Wow, that's super interesting. Can we talk a little bit about the program?
Of
What are
course.
some of the topics that you guys talk about and solutions?
We cover a range of topics, and it depends on what the teacher of the class that we're going into is, and we also do more than classrooms as well. We do we say we educate from keiki to kapuna. It's everyone. Everyone is a student, and so we cover things like the history of plastic pollution, which is something that people are not well versed in, and me myself, even studying plastic pollution, it's not something that's covered. And so the history of plastic pollution is not a topic that everyone is, it's not common knowledge. We also talk about potential solutions, things like I mentioned before of, getting involved in civics, opting for reusables, understanding that, commercially fished fish is also an issue. But aside from that, we also talk about like the biological effects of plastic pollution, how it can harm things and bring in things like invasive species to the islands, how plastic pollution even gets here, what marine debris is versus land-based debris. We cover a lot of topics. So when you go into our general presentations, you come out understanding where plastic pollution, or why plastic kind of came to be the way it is today, how plastic pollution is getting to our islands, and what you can do about it.
Absolutely. And that's actually a question that I have for you. How does plastic come to our shores? I mean, obviously, local communities, there are some instances of where, trash gets left at the beach, like during a party or something like that. But we also saw some of that B-roll of these larger containers washing up on our shores. Where are they kind of coming from?
So Hawaii is a little opposite from most of the world. Our plastic pollution comes from the North Pacific Gyre. It's also known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is not so much of an island, more so like a plastic soup. And most of the debris in there is coming from the industrialized fishing industry. And so when we find things like crates and stuff like that, it's usually from the industrial fishing industry. That's also where ghost nets will come from, like those big tangle of nets. Right. But we also recognize that there is land-based debris mixed in there, and land-based debris is by far the number one source of plastic pollution.
Got it. And, I myself have participated in these huge beach cleanups, other cleanups, community cleanups, and I always wondered what happened to the trash after we collect them. Do you guys filter through it? Do you guys kind of do some research and data on it?
We do the best we can. We are a small staff of between 10 and 11 interns and full-time staff members. And so when it comes to marine debris, we try and separate out as much as we can. And a lot will go to our relearning program. A lot will go to local artists that are trying to do pieces out of things like microplastic. But a bit still does go to H-Power, which is... it's a solution, but it's not the best solution that's out there. The best solution would be to turn off plastic pollution at the tap. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, thinking about what the solutions could be for plastic, what are some of the solutions that you guys talked about?
Yeah, so we talk about are you talking about for plastic,
learning,
for plastic pollution in general?
Yeah, plastic pollution in general. Yeah.
Yep. So on the islands, because a big source of our plastic pollution is coming from the industrialized fishing industry, we do talk about getting to know your local fishermen and opting for the local sourced fish versus the cheap one that is at the grocery store, which we understand is not fully accessible to everyone. But doing the best we can with that. Also opting for food that is local, so coming from your local farm or farmer's market, and so we can avoid food being imported to the island as much as we can, because all of that comes wrapped in plastic as well. So in terms of our food source, that's probably the number one.
Absolutely. And you did kind of mention the harmful effects that ocean pollution and plastic pollution can have, but I was kind of hoping you could kind of be a little bit more specific of how it affects our environment, native life, ocean life, and humans.
Yep. So when you have a plastic item in your hand, it's really durable, and that is why plastic came to be and came to, come to this effect that it has in modern civilization, is because it is so durable and is so relatively cheap to make, on the forefront. And so that's why it became popular, is because, you don't need to do your dishes anymore. You don't need to worry about dishes breaking. You can just grab your plastic plate and then throw it away afterwards. And it was kind of like this marvelous thing for households back in the 1950s. And then it kind of got a little bit out of hand where we could not figure out what to do with it. And so all of the plastic created is still on the planet today in some form. And when plastic enters the environment, whether that be through the ocean, air, or land, it will continue to break up into tinier and tinier pieces. So plastic, unlike a banana peel that will biodegrade, plastic photodegrades. So photo, like light, it breaks down when it's introduced to light. And so when you go to our cleanups and you pick up a piece of plastic like the one that's shown on the screen right now, you can actually just break it apart very easily in your hand. So you can see like a plastic bottle cap and you can just snap it in half super easy with 4 of your fingers. And it's frightening because you see how many little tiny pieces it can break up into. And so not only is plastic, turning into these small pieces that we can see, it's also turning into nanoplastics, which we cannot see.
Right.
And when we think about that, it's getting into our airstream. And so we're inhaling it. We're also, ingesting it through our water systems. And then when you think about it, plastic is in the ocean. We find a lot of pieces of plastic that have like fish bites or shark bites out of it. Yep. And so, it's kind of like that karmic cycle of, we produce the plastic, animals mistake the plastic for food and eat it. And then we sometimes eat those animals. And so it also the chemicals in plastic bioaccumulate in the bloodstreams of animals. And so when we're eating, let's say ahi,
Right.
that maybe has ingested plastic, we're also getting some of those chemicals too. And it's known that certain plastics have harmful chemicals in them that are endocrine disruptors and disrupt hormone cycles and things like that, and cancer causing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for explaining that. And it is a scary cycle thinking about how we are the producers of plastic, how then they can break down to these really small pieces. You said that they can be in the air, in the ocean, and eventually sometimes eaten by fish and other things that we may consume as humans. So, really tapping on that issue of turning off the plastic production, consumption. And it really goes to show that it does start with us, the consumers. If we're able to limit our plastic consumption, that will be a larger wake-up call for these organizations and companies that produce a lot of the plastic that we buy at stores.
Yep. Do you want to hear something frightening?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Humans on average ingest a credit card worth of plastic every single week.
Whoa. That is crazy.
Yep.
And where is that, like, where did that information come from?
That is a great question. We work with a lot of scientists, like the Center for Marine Debris Research out of HPU, and they do a lot of marine debris analysis, and they are, it's like some of the leaders in the science around this stuff. So we do get a lot of our information and stats from them, but also from our team is, also we moonlight as researchers as well. So we also can look into things like the Breaking the Plastic Wave report. That's like a very, very lengthy report, and we get to summarize the information for everyone through our programs like our relearning program and our outreach program, and coming back with details from these reports, like how tire dust is actually one of the leading causes of microplastics in the ocean. Yep.
Wow, tire dust?
Tire dust. So like when you drive on the road, like your tire continues to wear down.
Oh.
Like, do you know how like when you look at your tire and you're like, ooh, I don't have any more tread left? Yep. Yeah, that's, your tire wears down. So that material goes somewhere.
Interesting. Wow. Yep. Things that you just never really think of before, you hear it from the studies that are being done here. And I really appreciate you just breaking down all of that. And, when I think about it too, like plastic is in so much of the things that we use in our daily lives. And like you mentioned, like just driving. And a lot of people in Hawaii, we know that we commute to and from work, to and from
Oh, yeah.
school. And if that's one of the leading like microplastics and things that are going into our atmosphere, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. And, you know, having said all of that, for anybody else who is questioning the harmful effects of plastic, what is one thing that you would say should be a wake up call for people when it comes to plastic pollution?
That's a good question. I would say that the idea of plastic, all plastic ever created, still being around today. Plastic, like I said before, breaks up into smaller and smaller pieces, and that is the case when, like, you know, you put your plastic Tupperware into the microwave. Like, you know, the chemicals continue to leach out of the product, and so I would say that you know, understanding that is of vital importance, and you know, we really want people to take it seriously. And it's the more you learn, the scarier it gets. But we also understand that, you know, we can't be perfect, and you know, we do the best we can. And one of our core values within our organization is being perfectly imperfect. You know, we can't have a couple people doing zero waste perfectly. We need to have a bunch of people doing it imperfectly.
Absolutely. I really like how you mentioned that because for us in our daily lives, like someone might be listening to this interview and be like, well, I can't just like stop driving my car to work or,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like you said, trying to do the best that you can with, in other words, terrible situation, but being able to just do the most that you yourself can in helping the planet, helping those around you, because that's the big thing about issues with climate change, the environment. These are things that don't just affect you yourself, it affects the place that you live, the people around you, and all of that.
Exactly. Yep. And you know, this topic, again, the more you learn about it, the scarier it can get. And that's why having events like our Earth Day Cleanup Festival are so important, because it brings that aspect of fun to the issue that's so heavy. And so we get to lighten it up a little bit and show that, you know, it's not all doom and gloom. There is a lot of really amazing things happening out there and a lot of amazing work being done.
Absolutely. And finally, like you mentioned, all this Earth Day cleanups, there's a bunch of events happening throughout the state. And while that's mostly celebrated during this weekend, during the April month of Earth Day, Earth Week this week, what are some ways that we can be better stewards of the planet, of the Aina in our daily lives?
In your daily lives, it's just kind of taking that extra second out of your day to kind of plan ahead and think, okay, I'm going out for the entire day. Maybe I should bring a set of reusable utensils and my reusable water bottle. And then it just eliminates the factor of you needing takeaway utensils and needing a plastic water bottle. It also keeps your water cold. It's amazing. And so, you know, just taking that extra moment to think ahead and think about your impact. A lot of, you know, systems in our daily lives have been, you know, set up so that we can avoid that thinking ahead, and we need to take a step back and really say, okay, what is the consequence of this action that I'm about to take?
Yeah, well, that's really important. And I'm really glad that you're able to explain all of that, give some tips to our viewers and listeners who are tuning into this. And I just wanted to end again. Where can people learn more about your guys' event that's happening on Sunday? What again can people look forward to, and anything else you'd like to share about that event?
Yes, any information about our Earth Day Cleanup Festival can be found on our website, sustainablecoastlineshawaii.org. And again, it's supposed to be a really fun day with a lot of volunteers gathering together. And it's just a day to connect with community, learn and grow from each other, and have a bit of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you all learned a little bit more about plastic pollution, ocean pollution, and hope you guys can celebrate Earth Day in some way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for this really fun conversation, Monica. I really appreciate all your insight on this, and I definitely learned some new things during this conversation, and I hope you all have a very wonderful Earth Day, and that you guys can all find small chances in your daily lives to give back and praise our beautiful planet. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.